What's good, everybody? This is yours truly, Alberto Martinez, CEO of The Last Man Film and Comics, writer, author, illustrator of Clockpeople, my upcoming parody based on Alan Moore's Watchmen. The Indiegogo sign-up page is up and live, and sign up for it and be notified for when the book launches. It should launch early next year, so stay tuned for that. You are watching another edition of Old versus New. This is for the Revelations He-Man. I compare the Revelations He-Man with the Classics He-Man and go into detail with that. I recorded this video a few weeks ago, but I never got around to uploading it. I think I never got around to uploading it, but I'm gonna upload it now, obviously, because you're watching it. But the news came down today, no, October 12th, if you're wondering, that part two of the second half, well, I should say part two of season one of Masters of the Universe Revelation has been announced. Release date is going to be November 23rd. That's when it'll be released on Netflix. I will be counting on good old Reddit to spoil it for me because I'm not going to be let down a second time. And if I deem it worthy of even an ounce of editing, whatever, I will revert to Davy Jones's locker for the show. But uh, for me once, shame on you. For me twice, shame on me. So no, I'm not even going to waste my time even talking about it, except through these toy reviews. I just also recently purchased a Revelation Skeletor, which I'll do a separate video on as well. But you're going to be watching my review of the He-Man Revelations figure. And what did I think of it? Well, watch the video for yourself and find out.
So, in spite of the very shitty cartoon that Netflix gave us with its completely woke alphabet propaganda and complete deconstruction of the original IP's completely unequivocal masculine identity, uh, we got some pretty good toys out of this. Well, not all of it, but some of it. And in this case, we have the action figure of He-Man himself, and we're going to be doing our usual old versus new. I won't be using the original He-Man because I had given it to my son when he was younger and he didn't really take care of it. So the less said about it, the better. But I will be comparing it with the classics He-Man, which I'll show in a minute. But first, I wanted to give this figure its just due and review it on its own merits. So with that said, here we go. I will say, as far as the sculpting is concerned, this is a pretty decent figure. Definitely one of the better He-Man figures out there. I will say that. I do have my gripes about it, but the gripes aren't that major. I think there's more positive than negatives with this figure, and we'll go over all of it. First, the sculpt, the attention to detail in the boots, they are posable. The figure does have many points of articulation in the ankles, the knees, as well as on the elbows, the biceps, the shoulders. So there's a lot of posability with this figure. The shield slides right on and off the hands very easily. The sword is a nice touch, and as an added bonus, it's extra long too, so it looks very nice on the character. As far as the outfit's concerned, it is classic He-Man, so there's no gripes for me from the design of the outfits. My only two minor gripes: the chest plate, which doesn't carry the traditional cross, has the letter H for He-Man. It's a minor gripe. I have my reasons as to why they removed it, but it's not entirely non-canonical, so it's a minor issue. And I also have a problem with the face sculpt. It makes him look way too happy. I prefer the original classic versions of He-Man, where he's more gruffier and more angry looking, ready for the fight. This one seems a little too happy, so it underscores the masculine warrior aspect of He-Man. But again, it's a minor gripe. But you'll see why I have an issue with it when I go right to the comparison. And there he is, side by side with classics He-Man. The Revelations He-Man is about maybe an inch or half an inch taller than the classics. But it's not going to be a completely disorienting departure from the scale. So like it'll definitely mesh well with the other figures in the alternate line. So you shouldn't have to worry about having to restock on all the new figures or all the figures just to maintain a scale. So uh, that's pretty good. The other thing I will mention also is the Revelations He-Man doesn't come with the axe, uh, but I thought was a pretty interesting omission. It carries a sword and shield, but the axe is missing. So I guess they're trying to really not undermine, but they're trying to I guess you could say diminish the barbarian trait or the barbarian aspect of He-Man and make him a bit more coordinated and organized. A minor gripe, but it's not something that I'm gonna bury this figure on. I prefer the chest plate on this He-Man, which mirrors the colors and the design of the original He-Man figure. It's a bit more darker, and I think it just adds more to the ruggedness of the character. Whereas in the Revelation, it's a little brighter, a little more garish looking, more toy like, more childlike, which I'm not particularly crazy about, but it's minor. As you can see, design wise, it is a faithful adaptation of the character physically and visually. Uh, Colors notwithstanding, but the hair is there, the chest plates are there, the design of the loincloth, and some slight variations, in the boots and what have you, but nothing major at all. Again, this is a pretty decent update of the character. I don't have a problem with it. If it weren't for the fact that the cartoon wasn't such a shit stain of a woke propaganda piece, completely diminishing the iconography of the character and diminishing the lore and the myth of it in place of an alphabet propaganda. But I already discussed that in a previous video, so I'm not gonna get into that. I'm just here to review the figure, and as an action figure, it is pretty good. It's well done. It does capture visually, at least, the spirit of He-Man. Again, I'm not really lamenting the loss of the axe. It would have been nice if they included the axe, but it's not there. But I'm not lamenting it. Not a major thing. The happy face is something that I'm not particularly crazy about. I mean, he's not too happy, but it's not as gruffy and ready for war as this figure is. But again, another gripe, and I can forgive the H on this one as opposed to the more traditional cross here. But like I said, it's not a deal breaker. Overall, this He-Man is pretty decent. I like it. Um, there are things about it that I think are better than this figure, but I think overall I still prefer the classics over the Revelation. But again, this is a good figure to have if you want to start a He-Man collection. I don't see an issue with starting with this figure. It still says He-Man. It still shows a strong barbarian style masculine figure, and it doesn't compromise what He-Man is. So I definitely think it's a good figure. Um, and you can't go wrong with it. And again, as you can see, it's definitely I would say about an inch taller than the classics He-Man. My only other gripe with this figure also is that the hands are removable. Once again, another modern figure that doesn't have posable hands. It comes with not disposable, but removable hands, which I absolutely don't understand why. It's actually a big pet peeve of mine. To me, it's a waste. I really hate that, and it's just to me it keeps me from saying these figures are absolutely perfect because it just does not. And here is the Revelation figure side by side with the 2002 He-Man reboot, which you can see absolutely is definitely a lot bigger. It's about an inch, maybe an inch and a half taller than the 2000 reboot. And this is a pretty decent sculpt, but my big knock on it is the arms aren't posable in terms of like there's no bone articulation on the elbows, on the knees. But the design is pretty decent. It's a good updated design, but it's very limited in what it can do. But it does carry the traditional warlike face that's synonymous with the previous incarnations of He-Man. And here he is side by side with Classics Lino. And one of my big gripes with the Classics Lino is it trounces pretty much every action figure that's been made in the last 15 years because of its size ratio. It's absolutely huge, and uh, you could probably make a some kind of in-story reason for why Thundercats in this line would be bigger than the most figures, including the Masters of the Universe and the Marvel Legends figures. But I know that they come out with a Thundercats line soon. I think that's gonna be more in ratio with the Masters of the Universe Classics line. So hopefully that happens. We'll see. But just to give you a size comparison, so overall, I would give this figure an A. It's definitely better than I thought it would be. Many points of articulation, good sculpt. Uh, Despite the fact that the chest plate is brightly colored and the design is slightly off, but it makes up for it with a very long sword and a very good shield design. The sculpting on the boots and the loincloth and the hair is well done. Not particularly too crazy about the face, but not a major break or anything like that. Um, it's definitely got play value, and it's a good He-Man to start your collection with if you don't have a He-Man to start a collection with. So I definitely recommend it. Definitely pick it up. I know that's gonna be scarce very soon because I bought this figure at a convention because my local Walmart and Targets don't carry it for some reason. So it's definitely a limited figure at this point. If you can find it, grab it because it will go up in value very soon. And in spite of the fact that the Revelation cartoon was just a piece of crap, but we're not gonna have that conversation here. I've had that conversation before, but that cartoon notwithstanding, this is a very good He-Man figure. There's probably a lot of other good figures in the Revelation line that you can pick up. Definitely He-Man so far is the best figure in that line, so grab him, pick him up. He's a good addition to your collection, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
And that is my review of the Revelations He-Man figure. And surprisingly, I liked it very much. The little details that I'm not crazy about. Swapping out the Iron Cross with the letter H instead, and the happier vice stitch on his face. The slightly brighter colors, the lack of an axe. But these are minor because the positives outweigh the negatives in this figure. So I definitely recommend purchasing this figure. It's a pretty good figure. It's probably going to be the last good Mattel He-Man figure because I think they're going to lose the rights soon, and I don't know what's going to happen with future He-Man toys. But yeah, if you have an opportunity, definitely snatch this figure up. It's definitely a worthy addition to the collection. And thank you for watching. And don't forget to sign up for Clock People and like and subscribe to this channel if you like the content, and follow me along as I not only review the things that I like, but also create things that I like. So join us for the journey of Clock People from yours truly, the creator of Road Warrior Drake. Thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.